Christine. Today I'm going to be reading your twist of the classic story of the Three Little Pigs. Now, if you guys have not read the story of the Three Little Pigs, I suggest you pause this video, go ahead and read the story so you can have a better idea of the true story of the Three Little Pigs. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to be asking you a series of questions. Feel free to pause and have a discussion. This book was written by A. Wolf. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. Now, why do you think the wolf would want to tell his side of the story? Was it because he was the bad guy? Was it because the pigs were the bad guy? Well, have a discussion and we'll continue this book. I'm the wolf. Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves like to eat little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But, like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. There we go. There's Mr. Owl making his recipe. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. There's Mr. Owl making some birthday cake. It looks like he's running out of sugar. He's gotta go out and find some. So I walked down the street and asked my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had to build his house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in their right mind would build their house out of straw? Now, do you guys think it was a good idea that he built his house out of straw? What do you think is going to happen when Mr. Owl decides to knock at the door? Well, Mr. Owl's going to find out right now. So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't just walk into someone else's house, so I called, Little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I snuffed, shoo, and I sneezed, a great sneeze. There we go, look at that, Mr. Owl's sneezing pretty good right there. And you know what? The whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the straw pile was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there on the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. Look at that, Mr. Owl was contemplating eating Mr. Pig. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He built his house out of sticks. Now, do you guys think it would be a good idea to build your house out of sticks? Do you think it would last very long? What do you think the problem with building a house out of sticks would be? Well, Mr. Owl's gonna find out. I rang the doorbell. Nobody answered. I called, Little pig, are you in? He yelled, Go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. There we go. There's Mr. Pig about to shave his hairs on his chinny chin chin. And there's a picture of his stick house. I just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed. I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it. But this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was a second pig, dead as a doornail, wolf's honor. There's a picture of Mr. Pig again, and a picture of his straw house stick house that had fallen down, I'm sorry. Now, you know food will spoil if you leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, so I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house out of bricks. Now, what do you think? Do you guys think that building a house out of bricks is a little bit smarter than building your house out of straw or sticks? What do you think is going to happen if Mr. Wolf sneezes? I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what this rude little porker answered? Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't even give me one little cup for my dear old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt a cold coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, and your old granny can sit on a pin. Do you think that was very nice of the pig to say to the wolf? If you were a pig, would you lend a wolf a cup of sugar? Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fella, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. Look at that, Mr. Wolf is having a little bit of a hard time. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two little pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to pour a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed it up the story with all the huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me a big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. Look, he made the newspaper. But maybe you can loan me a cup of sugar? Look at that, he's growing a beard. How fun. Alright, so you guys, that it's the true story of the three little pigs. Who do you think is sad? Do you believe? Do you believe the wolf? Do you believe the pigs? Now, my question for you guys is, have you ever had to tell a different side of the story, or ever had to hear someone else's side of the story? Because sometimes there isn't always a perfect way to tell a story because we all have our own experiences. So, if you ever have to ask somebody for their side of the story, remember that you have your side as well. Now, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and remember, there's always multiple sides to a story.